Let's say that this circle right over here represents one whole. And we've divided this circle into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 equal sections. So each of these sections represents 1/5. Each of these sections represents 1/5 of the circle. And we've seen this already: 1/5, 1/5, 1/5, and 1/5. And if we were to then color in some of this, so let's say we were coloring 3 of these sections. So that's one of the sections right over there. Another one right over here. So we've colored in 2 of the fifths and then 3 of the fifths. Notice you put those 3 1/5s together. How much have we now shaded in? We have shaded in 3/5 of the whole. So the fraction that's actually shaded in now is 3/5. 3/5 is what's shaded in. Now let's do something in some ways a little bit simpler, but also in some ways kind of interesting. Let's start with a whole again. So once again, this is one whole. Let me label it one whole. So it's one whole. And instead of dividing it into 5 equal sections, I'm just going to divide it into 1 equal section. So if I were to shade in, if I were to shade this in, so if I were to shade it in just like that, so I'm shading in my one whole, I'm shading in my 1 equal section. How many of the equal sections are now shaded in? Well, just to remind ourselves, there is 1 equal section, and I have shaded in exactly one of those 1 equal section. I've shaded in the whole thing. Or I could say that 1/1, which you'll never hear someone actually say, is shaded in. Or I could say that the whole thing is shaded in. So this is equal to 1 whole. So that's a whole. That's interesting. And I want you to keep in mind, remember, look, we have 3, we literally have 1, 2, 3 fifths, and we literally call that 3/5. Now this is 1 whole. Now what happens if we were to do this multiple times? So if we were to, let me copy and paste that. So now I have another 1 whole, and then another 1 whole right over here. So now in total, how many holes do I have? Well, I have 3. 1, 2, 3 holes. So I could say, and I've actually shaded in 3 holes. So this one right over here is equal to, let me make sure I label it right. This right over here is equal to, if I were to take the combination, this is equal to 3 holes. Or if I were to think of it in terms of numbers, just the number line, this would represent the number 3. But what's another way I could represent it? Notice, when I took a 1/5, another 1/5, and another 1/5, I could call that 3/5. So now if I take one 1/1, another 1/1, and another 1/1, well, I should be able to call this 3/1 or 3/1, or however you want to call it. So I could call this 3/1. So this is interesting. Now we're seeing where the top number on a fraction is larger than the bottom one. But another way of thinking about this fraction symbol is that it's division. So you could view this as 3 divided by 1 is equal to 3. Or you could say, well, like 1/1 is a whole, and I now have 3 of them. So this is equal to 3 wholes. So 3/1 is the same thing as the number 3. And let me make sure, let me emphasize that. Let me draw this on a number line. So once again, let me go all the way to 3. So 0, 1, 2, and 3. So 1 whole gets us exactly 1 jump on the number line. So this right over here, that gets us to 1/1. We do another jump. Now we've gotten 2 firsts, I guess you could say. We've essentially taken 2 of these jumps. Each jump is 1/1. Now we are at 2/1, which is the same thing as 2. You take another jump, and we essentially get to, or we do get to, 3/1, which is the exact same thing as 3.